Well, it's finally here, the Tamron 17-28mm f2.8 for Sony E-mount cameras. We're going to break this thing down. We've been speculating and chatting about it for months now, and it's finally here. So let's look at it. Let's find out if it's going to live up to the hype. If it's half as good as its big brother, the 28-75, I think this thing's going to be a hit. We're also going to compare it to Sony's 16-35 G Master as well as the f4 and find out if you should be pulling the trigger on this thing. Let's go! So jumping right in, let's have an overview and look at some specs of this lens. It's impressively small, measuring just under 3 inches wide and under 4 inches long, and weighing just under a pound at 420 grams. A perfect sized lens that we expect out of a mirrorless system. In a lot of features it can be compared to its big brother, the 28-75. It is a full frame lens that can be used on an APS-C. It has a fast, constant 2.8 maximum aperture. It's packed full of quality glass elements and coatings. It has an amazing autofocus system that's nearly silent, performing excellent with both pictures and videos. It has a rounded 9-blade diaphragm for nice bokeh. It also has a very reasonable minimum focus distance at about 7.5 inches and 67mm filter threads. This lens definitely has a lot of features going for it, but let's look at a few that could go either way. Regarding the focal length, 17-28 is definitely not a huge focal range. This lens kind of reminds me of a lens I used to own, an old Takina 11-16. And although not quite as extreme, I found the focal range to be pretty much useless. Why even have a zoom at that point when you can buy a prime with much better performance? And that's what I ended up doing in the end. I'm not saying that this lens is the same by any means, but compared to your 16-35, you're definitely losing out on some of the wide end, as well as going up to the 35mm focal length, which is very popular. We want to have as many focal lengths covered as we can. And that's what Tamron was probably trying to do with this lens ending at 28 and the 28-75 starting at 28, but it's nice to have some overlap. To give you some perspective on this, here's a photo taken at 16mm, and here's what 17 looks like. Now at first glance it might not seem like a lot, but in a lot of situations it does make quite a big difference. Here's a few more common focal lengths that you're probably used to, and notice the difference between 28 and 35. If you've been using a 16-35 or somewhere around there, you probably will notice quite a bit of a difference. Essentially with the Tamron, this is what you're getting. As far as the build is concerned for this Tamron, expect the same great quality of the 28-75, being made of a plastic or composite material, but definitely having quality to it, and one-upping the Sony on the weather sealing, including a little rubber gasket, as well as the amazing feature of actually being internally focusing, meaning the lens won't extend when you zoom. This is fantastic. Now performance is going to be tough, of course, because not many people have actually got their hands on this lens yet. There are a few reviews out there like this German fellow on YouTube, which I did grab some footage from, thanks bud. I'll leave the link in the description in case you speak German and want to watch a review on it, but we can mainly go off of what a few people are saying and of course the rumors online. But first impressions are very good. It looks like it's going to be another solid performer. So incredibly, this lens is actually supposed to be sharper than the Sony 16-35 G Master, and that isn't hugely surprising when you think about it. There is less stuff going on in there, it's a smaller zoom range, but it is impressive, especially at this price point, which we'll get into. Here's a few test shots to show you what you can expect out of this thing and what it can do. And I wanted to do a lens comparison for you between the new Tamron 17-28, the G Master 16-35, and the 16-35 Zeiss f4. All great options with their own pros and cons, but hopefully this will make it easier for you to decide. Where price is concerned, the new Tamron comes in at $899, which is incredible. I really personally thought that this lens was going to be quite a bit more. The G Master coming in around $2,200 as expected, and the Zeiss somewhere in the middle at $1,350. Price and value, definitely go to the Tamron. When it comes to size, the Tamron is actually the smallest and lightest ultra-wide zoom lens in its class. And having the ability to internally zoom definitely gives this thing the size category. All three of these lenses are very well built, with the Sonys having a metal construction and the G Master offering just a few more features, being a little bit more rugged and perhaps a bit more dependable. Build goes to the G Master. The Tamron offers incredible value, having a fast f2.8, rivaling the G Master with the same aperture. But don't discount the Sony Zeiss f4, a solid performer with a few standout features of its own, but the GM and the Tamron win the aperture war. Now again, when it comes to performance, it's impossible to see exactly the full extent of the Tamron at this point, but this far it seems like an incredible performer, rivaling the G Master at a fraction of the price, and being a faster lens and also cheaper than the Sony f4. All three of these lenses are incredible. The Tamron has internal focusing, the G Master outstanding in just about every aspect, and the Zeiss not far behind. Also keep in mind that the Zeiss f4 is image stabilized, where the other two are not, and that's a big factor. At the end of the day, you're going to have to decide which one meets your needs the best. They're all absolutely amazing in my book, and I'd recommend any of them. And lastly, I wanted to touch on the warranty. All of Sony's lenses come with a standard 1-year warranty, and most of Tamron's come with a 6-year warranty. A huge difference, adding to the value, not to mention your peace of mind, and I love it. So there's your comparison and my thoughts on this new Tamron. I think it's going to be incredible. I think for $900 it's a steal. It's got incredible value, incredible performance. I think it's going to be on a wait list, a back order for the next foreseeable future. I love this stuff. If you like this video, consider hitting that like and subscribe button and drop your questions and comments down below. If you're thinking about picking one of these lenses up, I will drop the links in the description for you. It'll take you to where you need to go to buy them. And I'm actually filming on the Sony 16-35 f4 right now, so you can see how that looks. And if you want to see a review on that, I do have a detailed review I'll link at the end of the video as well. Like always guys, make mistakes, be yourself, and get out there and take some more pictures. See you next time.